can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Yes, here we go. It's a Thursday, October 17th, another live edition of the Daily Puck Drop. Welcome in. If you're watching on Twitter and YouTube, hello. There's the old Crimson coffee mug. Big thanks to Tim from the Collective sending that. Thanks to him. Also, if you're listening on the Puck Sports mobile stream, appreciate it. If you don't have the Puck Sports mobile app, go to the Apple Store and download it today. Now, for you Android users, it's a broken record. All right. I'm a one-man band over here. It takes time to get it through the Google Play Store. But I promise you, on my kids, okay, it's coming. I swear it's coming. It's coming soon. We are broadcasting live from the Puck Sports Studios, which is just a room off the main floor. It's all built by Limback Lumber. It really is just the Limback Lumber Studios. Contractors, they got free deliveries from everything, from whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects. So, again, free deliveries in and around the area. So, if you want if you want first-class service and you just want old-school approach and you're looking to do any project, I'll send a picture of it. We just did a fence in our backyard. The neighbor's fence, we had it replaced. Limback Lumber. Easy peasy. It's great. Local. And they offer free deliveries. And they also have the largest stock moldings in the Northwest. Again, old school service. They handle everything with paper still. No information's put in on a computer. It's all a paper trail, which is remarkable. And they've been doing it since 1930. Give them a call, 206-782-3487. Visit them online at limbacklumber.com. And go check them out, Limback Lumber, on Instagram as well. They've got some of the coolest gear, like T-shirts and hats and stuff, and a great logo, so you can purchase that as well. And you can visit them on Instagram there at Limback Lumber. All right, we do the show every single day live here on X, on YouTube, also on the Puck Sports and mobile stream. Obviously, I know there are probably still some issues with the YouTube stream, with the crackling. Still working that out with our platform, Riverside, and also YouTube. But it appears to be one of their issues, and we'll figure it out as soon as we can. Again, just a reminder, everything that we do here on the Daily Puck Drop is podcasted later. So the entire show goes up on YouTube. If you want to watch it that way, I know a lot of you like to watch it after the show is over. You have lives, I don't, but you do. You have an actual life where things, you work, you have a family, you got things to do, so you can't watch everything live. So I know a lot of people watch this stuff later. We put the whole show up there, and then in addition, like today's guest, Mike Garafolo, who will join us in about 15 minutes, and then our opponent preview with the great Andy Bunker, who's back. We chatted with Andy last week, talking about the Hurricane Helene and the relief fund that he started with his wife. But Andy's back for our opponent preview because the Seahawks are playing the Falcons, and Andy is now a talk show host in Atlanta, Georgia. So we'll talk to Andy coming up at around 11 o'clock today. And those two elements of the show, they're all going to be, up there separately. So, again, video separately. They're up there on YouTube, also on Apple and Spotify, and everything up at pucksports.com. But as we always say, please, even though we're in a live platform now, please like and subscribe and leave comments, anything that you can. It all helps the old cause. So we appreciate it. We appreciate you tuning in every morning. It's great. It's great to hear feedback from everyone. Puck at pucksports.com. I love all of it. I love interacting with you guys. I love that a lot of you have made the transition over from the radio side to this new platform. And, I don't even know how many months we're into this now. We started opening day. So what is that? I'm bad at math. Okay. April, May, June, July, August, September, October. We're going to almost go in 7 months. 7 months. God, we're halfway through, almost to a year. A lot of you have made the move over for the past 7 months, whether it's been in this live platform or just doing the podcast that we originally did in the first, 4 or 5 months of the show, thank you. I don't say thank you enough, but thank you to all who have tuned in via, watching, listening live, going back, listening on the podcast, watching on YouTube. I love it. Even some of you with the negative comments, I enjoy those as well. But this has been a hell of a journey. There's been ups and downs, peaks and valleys to it. I try to think of more cliches, but somebody asked me, "Oh, would you ever regret what you did?" No, ever, never, ever, ever. So this has been fun. It's been fun for me because it's a new challenge. It's a new challenge to do something that a lot of people haven't ever done before. So thank you for coming along on the ride. All right, I'm done. I'm done kissing your ass. All right, let's get to the top headlines of the day. As I mentioned, Mike Garafolo coming up at 10:20. Opponent preview with Andy Bunker coming up at 11 o'clock. Headlines, God, there's a lot. Jamal Adams got released today, and then I sarcastically said with a picture of Schneider on Twitter, "Do it." And right away, I was hoping this would be the first response, because right away it elicited a response from our good friend, contributor to the show, a man that I love dearly, Rob Staten. He was like, "Buck, you can't be serious." Well, no, I'm not serious. But as I told Rob, all of us are in the entertainment business. And to have him back would be entertaining, because people like Rob would lose their minds if Jamal Adams came back. And the fact that Jenkins just goes on the IR yesterday, Jamal Adams asks for his release. Bring him home. Is anyone wearing 33? Oh, the punt returner, the kick returner. Bring him home. Why not? I'll ask Garafolo about it today at 2:20. It's not happening. I just like to have fun with it, and I think it would be great entertainment. All right, that's it. So Jamal Adams was released. We're going to get into the Seahawks offensive line more. I looked at it even more this morning. God, it's worse than I thought. That's saying something. We'll do quickly into that. An interesting subplot to the game coming up on Sunday is, how much is Michael Penix helping the Atlanta defense and helping Jimmy Lake? I mean, there's so many tentacles, to this game with the connections of the two cities. We talked about it yesterday, Jim and I, that, the whole Jimmy Lake, he's the new defensive coordinator for Atlanta, and that whole connection there. And if he had never hit the guy in the Oregon game, is Jimmy Lake still the head coach? And then Kalen DeBoer is never the head coach. And then think about that. Ryan Grubb's not the offensive coordinator of the Seahawks. Scott Huff's not here. There's so much of what that Jimmy Lake punch, quotation marks punch, changed kind of everything in both towns. But, Michael Penix now being the backup there to Kirk Cousins, how much is he helping him? Who knows the offense better? I mean, they've got film and all that, but Michael Penix knows it as good as anyone. So how much is he helping Atlanta's defense? We'll talk to Andy Bunker at 11 o'clock about that. Something that Bunker brought up that I didn't think of, I want to touch it. Dan Lanning. Does Dan Lanning really that smart? Well, we'll answer that. Mariners off season. We started our series yesterday with Ryan Divish, who will join us in the off season every week talking Mariners baseball. We just don't give him time off. One, because he doesn't want time off. So big thanks to our good friends at Reggie and the crew at Chalet Bowl. He will be joining us in the off season as well. We touched on Cal Raleigh. Each week we'll have a new kind of storyline, one particular topic to chat about. And yesterday's topic was about Cal Raleigh, his future, can they afford him, all of that. John, there's been this, I wouldn't say it's a lot, and I tend to over analyze stuff that I see on social media. It's a great weakness of mine. If I see like one or two people mention something, I'm like, oh, everybody's talking about it. And I know it's not true. But I have seen where a few people in the Cougar Nation are asking for John Mateer to be benched. So, and you know me as the president of the Mateer fan club. That's not going to sit well. We'll touch on that. Let's quickly, we touched on Jamal Adams. It's not going to happen. So don't worry about it. I'm just being a smart ass to bring Jamal Adams back. Really, because I know that it annoys Rob Staten, and I want to annoy Rob as much as I can. We were on the show yesterday when Rob was on. We were talking about, I mean, Rob has lost it, I think, a little bit on this team. But, the biggest, one of the bigger, conversations that we had yesterday was just the offensive line play, but just the team overall. I don't think, honestly, they're that far away. Okay. I mean, how do you articulate this properly? They are and they aren't. You go back and look at the Niners game. They didn't play a good game. And there's so many mistakes in that game. But, God, I mean, it's a really razor's edge, isn't it? DK gets his foot down. Game's way different. Touchdown to DK doesn't get called back. Game is way different. I mean, I know there's these ifs and buts and candies and nuts and all that, but as poorly as they played, they were kind of right there. Now, they do have just some glaring deficiencies. And this is where, and I'm just using Rob as an example because we just talked Seahawks pretty much all offseason, where we would disagree, but not yelling disagreement. He was always more fired up and has been always more fired up about the defense. I was always going to be more excited about the offense. I just thought it was, but with the caveat, I'm really excited about the offense if the offensive line can do anything. Well, it's kind of been hit and miss. I think the offense clearly has been better than the defense. But they've had, their ups and downs. But I think a lot of their ups and downs is because their offensive line is just terrible, not good. But I wasn't sold on their defense. I didn't think they had enough up front still. Not the biggest fan of Leonard Williams, but understand why they had to bring him back. Love the Murphy pick. That was great. Just didn't think that they did enough with the linebackers. In love with the secondary, especially Woolen and Devin Witherspoon. But I thought they would defensively would not be as good. I didn't think Mike McDonald was going to be able to come on in and really just, completely change that defense. Now, in terms of the offense, and this is what we talked about yesterday, like Rob did, they're for Rob and myself. I mean, offensive line is clearly, the biggest issue for this team, but they're not playing good at all. They're terrible, and we touched on it yesterday during the show. Myself and Rob Staten.
Don't think they're on the right path. I don't think their identity is muddled. They are not playing consistent football. The defense stinks. The O-line stinks. I just think you've got to be honest about that. And people don't like it. People go, hey, what are you doing? It's six games. You can already tell this team doesn't feel like it's going to go to the Super Bowl or go on a playoff run or anything like that. You've got guys sulking on the sidelines. I keep thinking back to the quotes from KJ Wright last year where they were going, who's a leader in the team? And he's going, and they're going, is Gino a leader? And he's like, no. Is this guy a leader? He's like, no. And he says, well, who is a leader? And he goes, Jaron Reed might be. And that's it. It kind of speaks to it. The makeup of this team right now, it's got some good players. It's got some players who've got physical potential to be great. It hasn't got what you need to be a Super Bowl team.
And I mean, I didn't think that they were a Super Bowl team going into the season. I mean, I know that's everyone's goal when the season starts. But I mean, I think if we were being realistic of where they were at, I don't think anyone. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many people really thought they were going to be Super Bowl contenders. Playoffs, so I thought they had a chance at the playoffs, and I still do think they have a chance at the playoffs. I mean, I think Sunday's game is massively pivotal. Atlanta's pass rush is not great. Maybe that's the recipe for this offensive line. Their offense is great, scares the hell out of me. I think it's going to be a track meet. They're going to have to outscore Atlanta. This is going to be a defensive game. There's no way because Atlanta's going to be able to move the ball up and down the field. Those trio of wide receivers with Mooney and Drake London. You can't forget about Kyle Pitts, Ray McLeod, Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. I mean, they've just gone. This is overall the best offense that they have faced. Maybe it's on par with Detroit, but this is the best. And yeah, I mean, they're going to give up a ton of points. It's now, the numbers that Geno has, when he plays indoors, that's been well documented. You'll probably see it. They're going to splash it all across the screen on Sunday. He's been great indoors. He's going to have to be the guy, and that offense is going to have to be the guy there on Sunday. But it's bad. That offensive line. I mean, I looked this up this morning and again, there's a love-hate affair here with Pro Football Focus. But their pressure rate, according to PFF, their offensive line, they've got their 3 of their 5 guys are the worst in the league. And one of them surprises me because I thought Charles Cross was having a good year. And I still do think he's having a good year. This is where maybe you look at the analytics of PFF, but then you watch your eyes, you're like, that doesn't really make sense. But Stone Forsythe, in terms of pressure rate, pressures given up, leads the league, 35. Second place is 19. By the way, tied for second place is Charles Cross. And then Anthony Bradford is 4th with 18. So three of their top 5 offensive linemen, are giving up pressures left and right. So it's not so much about sacks, right? And anybody that watches football and talks about football will tell you that it's, sacks are great and those are fun, but how much are you getting pressure on the quarterback? And these guys are giving up pressure left and right. And I don't think Geno is, we all agree that I think Geno's a good quarterback. I don't know how much Geno can sit there and prevent what is happening to him up front. I don't know what quarterback could. So it's hard for him to be able to deal with that. We'll get more NFL stuff here with Mike Garafolo coming up shortly as we go around to the headlines. One thing I want to talk about, this idea. I've seen this a little bit online. And again, I focus too much on like 1 or 2 people. We talked about it on Old Crimson this week. If you're a Coug fan, if you're not a Coug fan, the Old Crimson podcast, Old Crimson Cougars podcast, brought to you by the Cougar Collective in Flat Stick Pub, is a wonderful podcast, by the way. And it's only on the podcast platforms. We don't do it live. We talked about this week of some wanting quarterback John Mateer benched in favor of Zevi. Jim, time for a QB change? Zevi time. Zevi Eckhouse.
No, I don't want a quarterback change. You've been talking about Mateer for seemingly like decades, and I love that kid. We're going however far we go this year is with John Mateer. It's not going to be with Zevi, whatever his name is, And I don't want to denigrate that kid, but I'm all in on Mateer, and I'm okay when he throws an interception, he makes a bad pass here and there. I'm going, well, okay, it's a work in progress.
Eckhart can throw the ball. I saw a couple 40-yard throws. He's very accurate. Doesn't have the arm strength and the zip that Mateer has. He's actually better at throwing on the run than Mateer is. Mateer's better when he steps back and that ball comes out. Mateer tends to airmail it when he gets on the run, where Zevi doesn't really have the strength to throw that deep out, the deep corner, those kinds of things.
I can only base it on one practice that I saw. I went over there and I watched their first scrimmage, and this was when they were still in a QB competition. And again, and I'm biased because I like John Mateer, so I probably go into it thinking I'm going to give John Mateer, the benefit of the doubt before I even walked into it. So I have to acknowledge that. But I did honestly come away thinking this isn't even close, not even close of a competition. Zevi is a good quarterback, but he doesn't have the arm to push it downfield. He doesn't. And so it would be a lot of dink and dunk. But I'll say this, of those in the Cougar Nation that want a quarterback change, I get it. He hasn't played well, especially the last 3 games. And for the most part, in the passing game, he's been below average. But I'll say this about him. If he's not your quarterback, you're 3-3, maybe 2-4. He won you the Washington game. Okay, I know the stop at the end. He won you the game. He was the best player on the field. He won you the San Jose State game as well. And I can make an argument, and again, it's revisionist history. If Texas Tech has their starting running back, which they didn't, but let's say they don't have him. He won you the Tech game too. He had 200 yards rushing. So again, they're an average football team without him. So in large part, why they're 5-1 is because of him. Again, the late, first half interceptions are one thing, and I get it. They're problematic. I think he would tell you that. It is an issue, and he needs to get better in the passing game. He is, when guys are wide open. This is why I don't think it's an Arbuckle issue as well, because I know there's been some chatter on that. I mean, guys are open. I think the one critique, let me just pivot real quick to Arbuckle, is, I think he gets away from the run too fast. But then again, that's the problem with the air raid. And you've heard me, I'm a broken record on that. This is why I don't like the air raid. It's exactly what people are complaining about now, because it's just too dependent on the pass. But whatever, you're married to it, so you're not going to change it. But Arbuckle could stand to run the ball a little bit more. But on the pass plays that he has schemed up, guys are open. John he's missed them. He's missed them. I don't think early on, not a problem in the Fresno game, but early on, his offensive line didn't help him at all. It was not good. Certainly not good against Boise State. And frankly, I don't think his wide receivers are all that dynamic. I mean, I think besides Kyle Williams, what do you got? I like Meredith as a nice player. Chris Hudson's okay, but they're not dynamic. And, I think they lack that. They lack that dynamic wide receiver and a big wide receiver. They're really, really small. There on the outside, but I mean, I think it all could probably get better. But no way would I say let's bench him. That is not that. I'm gonna repeat, that is not the solution to bench John Mateer. You want to bench John Mateer, you go find out, how that offense looks without him. How many times has he saved that offense? All right, we'll get back. I want to get back to Dan Lanning a little bit later. Mike Garafolo joins us momentarily. Mike Garafolo, of course, is brought to you by Hartley Insurance, your trusted family-owned insurance experts in the Puget Sound area since 1978. Honesty, fairness, integrity. You give Jamie Hartley a call there, 253-565-8700. Also, Zogs on Fox Island, the perfect spot to grab a cold beer, hang out with friends, and catch the game. There at Zogs on Fox Island. Let's talk a little. There at Zogs on Fox Island. Let's talk a little. Oh, I got a little echo there with you, sir.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not coming through my headphones. I had this. Hold on.
You take your time.
It's not picking up my Yeti.
This is the beauty of live.
Don't know what happened. Wait a second. Hold on. Yeah, see, that's working. I don't know.
We're picking up your computer, I think is what we're picking up.
Don't know what to tell you. It was fine before. Let me log out and come back in. Hi, everybody.
All right. It's
I'll be right back.
That's the beauty of it. This is why I love doing live entertainment, because of this. It allows you to pivot, be quick on your toes. Now it gives me time to talk about Dan Lanning. And I'm going to bring it back up with Andy Bunker when we'll get Garafolo back on. I don't think Dan Lanning did it on purpose now. And I think Andy Bunker has freaking convinced me. I think Dan Lanning's kind of an idiot. And I think he's taking credit for something he didn't mean to do. All right, Mike Garafolo is back with us.
Okay, we're good.
Oh, you sound great. God, those beautiful, just dark bass vocal cords. How are you, Mike Garafolo?
Doing great, Puck. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. This was, I think, last week, Mike. And again, Mike is with us, brought to you by Hartley and Hartley Insurance and Zogs on Fox Island. He's with us every single Thursday. I think this last week of the NFL was about the craziest week in the NFL that I can remember. I mean, the trades, the unfortunate injury to Aiden Hutchinson, and then my favorite part of the week was Jerry Jones. You and I both being old sports radio guys.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that immensely.
Does he own that station?
I assume so, because it's the flagship.
Okay. So for him to say, I can replace you,
he can.
He can. Right.
Yeah.
Which would not be a great look at this point, right?
Can you imagine if those two guys found out they were out of jobs?
So if you're the hosts, you got to feel like you got a little bit of protection by the fact that this happened publicly.
Yeah.
Because if he did that, he would get slaughtered. But by the same token, maybe he doesn't care. I don't know.
I don't know, man. But
I remember there was one, because he usually will field relatively tough questioning on that show. But there was one week where, gosh, they had lost or something had happened, or I don't know. And he said, there was a moment where you want to get smart with me? Is that how we're going to do it? Like something like this. I got to go back and find that one for you, because that was great as well. But it was only that little moment. This one, he seemed to carry it all the way through.
my buddy that we used to work together in Portland, Oregon, Gavin Dawson, used to do that show. Gavin works there now and on a different time slot now, but he had him on the show. Maybe that was with him, but I always used to text him like, you get to interview the owner of the team every week. That's unbelievable. Like there's no other owner in sports, right, that does a weekly show. And then what I love even more than that is the fact that he does, the press conference after the games in the hallway before the coach even talks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are times where he won't do it. And it's like, is he really, he must be really upset, then you try to read into that. But yeah, he'll stand there and you can ask him anything. And, but he's definitely gotten a little punchier of late. So
well, he's 82.
Yeah. I also think he thought that this team, at this point was locked and loaded and ready to go, which spoke to why they didn't do some of the things in the offseason that people wanted them to do, because they felt like they had enough, and now it's not looking that way. So, it's going to be interesting to watch to see if this doesn't work out. And, he seems to be defending Mike McCarthy, but by the same token, his temperament tells you he's just not happy at all.
Why doesn't he? And I mean, if you knew the answer to this, or if he even wanted to do it, why doesn't he just go hire like a legitimate president and general manager? I mean, he's the owner of the team. Like, why does he want to do? He's 82. Why does he even want to do that? Just hire. You have all the money in the world. They're worth. What are they worth? Like $10 billion.
Doesn't matter at this point. His life is what his life is going to be. It's never going to change, right?
Just give it to somebody. Be like, just win me a championship. Hire the smartest guy in the room.
He is the smartest guy in the room. Just ask him. Which is not really to say that Will McClay is the de facto general manager and does a very nice job there, by the way. Does a really good job. Will McClay does. And he trusts him. Teams have tried to pull Will away and have been unsuccessful. So I'm sure he's getting compensated greatly. And Steven also has great input. Go back to what year was it? The Manziel that they had to, stop him. And so at least he will allow himself to be stopped, right? At least he does seem to take the feedback of those around him.
Yeah, I just, it's one of those weird things. I don't quite understand it. Yeah, I don't know why he just doesn't want, to sit there and allow people to, help him out.
They are. I just said he is.
Yeah, but it just doesn't feel that. Does he not take it?
He does. He does. I don't know what would change if you brought in somebody that he's still going to have. He still wants to be involved. Remember that scene of him with the breakfast sandwich during Hard Knocks from a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Great scene.
Yeah,
him just taking the pulse of the team and then eating that sandwich. And they really didn't have a whole lot. They were limited access. HBO was that year. So that they had that, and they kind of leaned into that. And it was just this great scene of like, really, this is how he's going to eat his breakfast right here.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's to see that team where they're at get so hammered like they did. Mike, there's losses in the NFL, and then there was a loss like that. Like, you just don't see losses like that in the league.
You don't see a team that, their wins have been big too, right? Their wins have been significant. The way that they smashed the Browns, and the Steelers game was close. The Giants game was never really in doubt in my mind. So it's like it's been in the age of parity where it's usually, hey, all these games were decided by X amount of points this week. The NFL loves to tout that. This team, for some reason, has gone the other way. I don't understand it. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Sure. Hey, congratulations to Devontae Adams. Boy, that hamstring cleared up real quickly.
Yeah, right?
Good for him.
It's like the guy who's dancing with the crutches and he just throws them.
Yeah. Hey, I thought he would be done for the year.
Which is funny because everybody in Vegas was like, no, he's got a legitimate injury. Okay, he's got a legitimate injury. And maybe he did. I don't know. Maybe it coincided, but it's not like he came back to the Jets and was limited. He was a full participant in practice his first day. So
Yeah.
there's a way of, everybody said, well, it's pending a physical. He's got an injury.
But but the Raiders play a part in this too, right? Because they don't want to play him in order to, they know they're going to trade him. And so they know they don't want to play him to get him hurt, right? Is that part of it?
Yeah, well, that's part of it. And also, kind of sort of honoring his trade request. Like, hey, I don't want to play another down for this team. Okay, fine. You're not going to play another down for this team. And just like, you want to, okay, hamstring injury, great. Whether it's real or not. Mike Williams right now with the Jets seems to be doing the same thing because now that Adams is in, Williams is going to be out. He missed practice because of personal reasons yesterday. You weren't looking. I did air quotes when I said that.
Yeah. Sorry.
And then today he's there, but he's working on a side field. So who knows how he'll be listed on the injury report, but this is another one of like, okay, yeah, I understand you're upset. We're going to look for the best suitor and they're going to get nothing for him. I mean, it's not going to be an Adams type trade. It's going to be third day 3 draft pick compensation. Because somebody's going to have to take on a big number for him as well. But he's practicing on a side field. And it's like, okay. And teams are willing to do that because you're right. It does help them. He's not out there and then he breaks a leg and all of a sudden they lose out on a draft pick.
Yeah. So he gets his wish. He goes to the Jets. How much does it make him better?
I mean, I've heard former players talk about, well, it takes the attention off of Garrett Wilson. Great. Opens up the running game. Awesome. Keeps Aaron Rodgers happy. Cool. They're 2-4 with an interim head coach. The offensive play calling I thought got better. But still, you've got to win that game. You've got to win that game, And I'm surprised because we talked about this full transparency. Ian Rappaport and I we're on the air on Sunday and we're both talking about how, okay, this thing is going to come on Tuesday. And I said to Ian, the only thing I can't really factor in is if the Jets lose Monday night. Does Woody go, oh, wait a second, you know what? And instead he did the opposite. Like I thought I had more time that morning to say, hey, all right, so what's going on? What's and they were like, it was done the night before. Sometime, if you do the math on it, it seems like it was sometime during the game that it was agreed to. So you've got an owner right now who is all in with a roster that he believes is the best one that he's ever had. I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. There were some really talented rosters back when Rex Ryan was the head coach. Now the quarterback's obviously better, but he's on the back end of his career. I when this happened the other day, I was like, and I've got a diehard Jet fan who, a friend of mine who I thought was going to be way in on it. And he was kind of like, why do we just light a draft pick on fire? Because there was even if you wanted to get him next year, the Raiders were going to have to release him. They weren't going to pay him the number that was on the books. So they got their, usually it's a comp pick, but you're not getting a comp pick until 2026. So they got it a year early. And I can't imagine it would have been as high as what they've got potentially here. So first of all, there are no second round comp picks. So Raiders did a great job on this one.
Right. Our good friend Jamal Adams, he's got his release. So Jamal Adams, now the era in Tennessee is over. I would ask you what happened, but I can only assume what happened. But he's now he's not good anymore. They don't play him, and he's upset. And he still thinks he's the best safety in football, probably. So where does he land? I, for entertainment purposes, want him to come back here so everyone loses their mind.
I would say that would be fun. Which honestly, if we talked about this spring, summer, right? The door was open, but he would have to be a linebacker with the
right.
Seahawks.
Right.
And it sounds like those around him are saying, "Well, who needs a safety? Well, where can we?" You're not a safety, so where does he go to be a linebacker? I hear he is in the New York area for his birthday. Is his birthday? I meant to check that.
Okay.
So if it's his birthday, I'll know that's accurate. So hold on, Jamal.
Well, what does that mean? Is he coming back to the Jets?
No, but that's what October 17th. Today's his birthday.
Okay.
Probably should have noted that. Happy birthday, Jamal Adams.
Way to go, Jamal.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't see. Usually the team will wish the players did the Titans wish Jamal Adams a happy birthday today?
Probably not.
Yeah, a lot of people want him to come back to the Jets. They think that would be high
Oh, why
comedy.
not? Why
I don't
not?
know that the welcome mat would be rolled out here the same way that it was rolled out or would potentially be rolled out in Seattle.
Okay. Sorry. So he's not coming back to Seattle. I want people, I tweeted that out and people lost their mind. Oh, why would you want him back? It was a joke. All right, people, just relax. It's just a joke. He's not coming back here. Don't worry about it. Surprise. Well, I guess they haven't made it the announcement yet, Mike, but at least Mike Tomlin has opened the door for Russell Wilson.
I'll make the announcement. Russell Wilson starting. Go ahead. There you go. There's your announcement. Yes.
Why?
Did you see the quote from Arthur Smith, by the way, today?
I did
he was
not.
talking about Justin Fields said, I didn't play well enough.
I saw that.
I did, which was great. If I did, there would be no doubt about who's the starting quarterback. So he didn't play well enough, which I think. So this was Arthur Smith then saying, I think guys are a little hard on themselves sometimes, basically saying he didn't play that poorly, which I thought was funny for two reasons. One, gives you an indication of who Arthur Smith thinks the starting quarterback should be, as does this line. He's 4-2. He's been pretty productive. And so whatever Mike tells us to do, like I said, I've got it ready either way and just working, and that's my job. Basically, I just work here. Like that was the ultimate. I just work here. Whatever Mike tells us to do. I was kind of like, because we know this is Tomlin. Tomlin's been driving the Russell Wilson bus since before they acquired him. Like telling people we can get this guy for the veteran minimum, which is fine, which is great. Okay. But to put your eggs in that basket the way that he has and the way that he's been pushing for Russell Wilson to be the guy, despite a spring that wasn't great, a summer in which he didn't practice and play that much because of the calf issue.
Right.
And Justin Fields doing pretty well during the regular season. Mike Tomlin is still firmly in Russell Wilson's corner. And so that's the opinion that matters the most in that building.
Well, it's interesting because it's not like he hasn't lit the world on fire, has Fields. But they've won and he's performed okay. Their offensive line's not that good. He's had to scramble for a lot
too. That help.
He's had to scramble for a lot of stuff. And Russell's just not what he was, 5, 6, 7 years ago. I don't know.
He's not. And you saw there was a design run.
Yeah, they're not doing that with him.
No, but there was a design run for Fields the other day where 1, 2, 3, boom, he planted and the offensive line, and it was like he was gone, like a running back gone.
Yeah.
And you're not getting that from Russ. Like, I don't understand. So, in other words, you take that away. You're taking the ceiling away. You're taking the dynamic ability away because that ceiling he could potentially continue to progress toward. You're taking all that away, and you're getting, in your mind, like Fields is down here, potentially going up here. In your mind, you're up here. Okay, and you're getting this, but you better get that. Like you may not get that. You may get this.
Yeah,
right. We've seen this.
Right, 100%.
So I don't, but Mike Tomlin, he gets a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt here because of his overall record and his streak of non-losing seasons, which seems to be continuing.
Because this is in your neck of the woods. I was going to say this at the end, but I want to get it now because it's a funny story. Fireman Ed, are the Jets trying to push Fireman Ed out? He thinks so. He's gone to social media thinking the Jets are pushing him.
I didn't notice that the other night. I honestly didn't. He was definitely up there.
Okay.
I don't know why. I mean, he was up there. Maybe he wasn't every touchdown, but third downs, they were cutting to him.
Were they?
And you could see him. Let's go. And he's waving the hat on Thursday. I mean, I saw it. Did I take score and see if it was every single time? I have no idea. But they were definitely cutting it. It's not like they went cold turkey.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they had some sponsored elements that they had to get in there instead. I don't know. They were also showing, and maybe this is a part of it. I should ask these questions. Is this important? I don't know. I sort of laughed at the story. I'm like, is this something I should be chasing?
Oh, I think
they were also showing the Yankees and the Mets game cut-ins. They were showing, and sometimes live. So that may have affected it, which I thought was cool. They were, because the Mets played early, and then once the game started, it was the Yankees, and they kept showing either, hey, this home run just happened, or live cut-ins to keep the crowd engaged, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah. All right, Jaden Daniels, is he a legitimate MVP candidate?
He's in the mix. I don't know that it's going to hold up. I mean, they've got some tougher games coming up here, and you're going to have some guys that are going to emerge here. I think Joe Burrow, well, this hurt. Joe Burrow had some really good numbers, despite the Bengals being 1-4.
Sure.
Now, this last game that they won, it was not the greatest offensive output, although he played really well. So I don't know that Jaden Daniels is going to hold up there. I don't have a vote. If I did at this point, I'd have a hard time not giving it to Josh Allen right now.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, Amari Cooper may help. Josh Allen's case may help his stats. The problem with that team,
It's a great trade.
it's a great trade because it didn't cost them a lot of money,
Right.
which helped the Browns, by the way. They got more
Right.
draft pick compensation because it didn't cost a lot of money. Whereas if a team had to take on a huge salary with Cooper, like he was $20 million, but they knocked it down to like $1 and change, and they paid most of that already. So it was like $800,000, something like that. If it was the full $20 million, it'd be like, well, we'll give you a 6th, 7th round pick to take on this salary.
Right.
But because the Browns had already done that, that helped them. So it helped in that regard. It also helped. He'd be a high volume guy for you, and they don't have one. And so they've got Keon Coleman, which is good. He's played well. Looks like he's going to be a guy, but he's not your high volume guy. And you've got a bunch of other veterans who were never high volume guys. You like threw a bunch of veterans, but I give Brandon Beane credit because he said, we'll do this. And then if we feel like we don't have enough, we'll do something in season. And he's already done it. And so this was a team who, when they've been behind in games, it's like they're not built that way. And Josh Allen is a guy that can get you out of some holes, but they weren't built that way from a receiver standpoint. And now that really helps a lot by getting Amari Cooper.
All right, NFL trade deadline. It's coming up. It's coming up fast. November 5th. How aggressive do you think the Lions will be with the Aiden Hutchinson injury?
There's not a lot out there. Like I saw people talked about the Hassan Reddick one, and Josina Anderson had a great nugget about if the Jets trade him to an NFC team, they now owe the Giants a 2nd round pick.
Wow.
Which I don't know how that would work out if they owed both the Giants and the Raiders 2nd round picks. Another question I should ask.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So they won't trade him in the NFC. So it's now you're limited to the AFC. So I think that's going to hurt a little bit. There's other, there's the Myles Garrett's. There's the Myles Garrett's.
What about Max Crosby?
I don't think so. I think. First of all, we know the relationship between him and Antonio Pierce, and I know Antonio Pierce would be just devastated by that. And I also know that they pushed back on the Devontae Adams trade before the season because they wanted to make sure he had some talent on the roster. Like they couldn't have him completely fall on his face. So, to give up Max Crosby, that would be a tough one. But this team's going to have to reload and get ready to rock and roll for next year in order to keep Max happy and not asking for a trade and, able to compete before it's too late in his career.
The Tom Brady now being a part owner of the Raiders. How does what are you gonna I'm gonna ask you?
It's just the weirdest thing to me.
But how can he be an analyst and then be an owner?
You're preaching to the choir here.
He's gonna have to give up the Fox gig, isn't he? Isn't the league gonna make him give that up?
No, they would have done that already.
They
would have done that already, and they say he can call Raiders games too.
That is unbelievable. You can't have that. Come on.
And my opinion on this changed in the last day because the Raiders pumped this out there, and they had a video of him walking in with the music playing and all this stuff. And it's like, if you're going to be a small minority owner to get your feet wet, and maybe down the line you want to be, majority controlling owner of a franchise, fine. If you're going to keep the Fox gig, which potentially could help you pay for that, by the way, because you're going to bank $400 million or whatever it is.
Yeah, right.
But they really and he leaned into it too, right? So if you're going to do that, it's kind of like, in our business, some people, depending on the roles that they're in, can be fans, right?
Sure.
But you don't want to do it too hard sometimes because you want to still keep the credibility. But some people really lean into it. And I go, see, I'm not a fan of legitimately, I'm not a fan of anybody. I can't be, it's impossible, whatever. But some people really lean into it. I'm like, if you do that, you're going to get the blowback from 31 other teams. Whereas if you want to maintain, you could do it privately, keep it quiet. But, it's sort of along the same lines here. So I thought yesterday when that really got pushed hard, I was kind of like, don't you want to kind of that didn't help with people who feel the way that you feel, Puck?
You think I don't know where I can't remember who said it, but do you think he'd go after Bill Belichick?
I mean, I think that Mark Davis is going to be influenced by what Tom Brady's going to say.
Yeah.
So I mean, the first question is going to be, do they retain Antonio Pierce? Which if you fire Pierce off of this year, you're just you're just saying you feel that way. You don't have anything because you took Devontae Adams off the field. I mean, they're scrapping right now, and they're going to win some games along the way, like the game in Baltimore. And they'll lose some games like the game that they had at home against Carolina. And they're going to be that kind of team the rest of the way. You got to rule it incomplete in his first year, I think. So I don't know if Brady's going to convince him that, like, hey, this isn't the guy, and I can. Who knows? Maybe.
All right. Before we let you go, I want to celebrate. This is an important week for one of your colleagues. It's like an anniversary for one of your colleagues who I know that you love and that you adore. But of course, I like to call this the rap sheet.
I had an interesting talk with offensive coordinator Tom. Did you guys just see that football?
I saw it.
One of my favorite videos of all time.
I had an interesting talk with offensive. Talk with offensive coordinator Tom. Offensive coordinator Tom.
I mean, God, Mike.
Offensive coordinator Tom.
That hits him hard.
Did you guys just see that football?
I mean, my God.
I don't know that I've ever seen that clip as long as you showed it. The ball boy then comes in. Hey, can I have that ball? Show that again. Okay. Like he didn't even check on him.
Hold on. Yeah.
I saw it.
Anyway. Did you guys just see that football?
I saw it.
First of all, the suit's too big.
I had an interesting talk with
Hey, can I get that ball?
An interesting talk with offensive coordinator Tom Clements a couple weeks ago.
Can I get the ball? Yeah, that happened. That was yesterday, October 16th. That was 2012, I believe.
Yeah. So 12 years later, still no long-term effects.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it hit him. He also said, by the way,
hit him pretty good.
It didn't hit him direct. It hit the light and then hit him. So it was a ricochet.
I'll say this, you guys, and live radio, and I've done live TV, like something like that happens, you can get real rattled. I thought he handled it great. Live TV like that.
I've never seen the rest of it, by the way. I got to see the rest of it. Did he finish the hit? And actually, he talked to what did Tom Clements say? I got to ask him that. Do you remember what Tom Clements told you?
I don't know. You do got to finish it. Like we got to find like the finished product of it. Who do you like tonight? I mean, do you think the Broncos can win by more than 4?
It's 4 now?
It's 3. They're favored by 3.
Oh, which
4.
Honestly, well, look, they're down Pat Surtain and their right tackle, but it looks like they're getting Mike McGlinchey back. And the Saints are just, I mean,
ravaged.
I feel so bad for Dennis Allen right now because
they're a pretty good team.
I don't know if they were going to be as good as they were the first 2 weeks of the season, but they're not this bad. And but that is why that was one of the teams to me that I said, because what I've learned over the course of covering this league is you have to look at who's got depth.
Yeah.
Right. Because everybody's going to have injuries. So who's got the depth to sustain it? And a lot of times it's rookies that you're not fully aware of yet. So you can't. So I'll ask around the league, like, hey, who do you think has depth? And when I say who doesn't have depth, that was one of the teams that came up. And I think we're seeing that now. I know we're seeing that right now. Did I know we'd see it to this extent? I have no idea. But yeah, this is a situation where like Alvin Kamara is going to have 6 touchdowns tonight. One of those games like he had before. That's the only way they win this game. I like Denver.
All right. You like Denver.
I like Denver and I like Seattle this weekend.
Okay. You like the Seahawks.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. It feels like this would be a game. They've lost 3 straight. People are doubting them. Finger pointing.
Atlanta's flying high.
Yeah.
They're due to come back down a little bit. Seattle does a good job of flying. I'm still under Mike McDonald doing the fly on Friday.
Yeah.
Get there a day earlier to get adjusted, which I think is smart. And they play well when they come east. So yeah, I like them. I like
a lot of connections in this game. You got Michael Penix, the backup quarterback, of course, was at Washington. Ryan Grubb is offensive coordinator. Jimmy Lake is the defensive coordinator for Atlanta. Reason he has that job because he punched a player in the face at Washington. I mean, it's unreal. It's just, I mean, all the connections to this game should be good. All right. You're the best. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks, Mike.
You got it, pal.
There he is, Mike Garafolo, NFL Network. Again, all brought to you by Hartley and Hartley Insurance, your trusted family-owned insurance experts in the Puget Sound area since 1978. Honesty, fairness, integrity. Contact Jamie Hartley at 253-565-8700. Also, Zogs on Fox Island, perfect spot to grab a cold beer, hang out with friends, and catch the game. Enjoy the Northwest summers and falls now. I should probably fix that. The falls on their outdoor patio. Check out Zogs on Facebook and Instagram for their new hours. In case you came into this late, of course, Mike Garafolo and every guest we have will be podcast up later on YouTube. Just search Puck Sports. Also up on Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. And, of course, at pucksports.com. All right, I know the Twitter stream failed and went out, and it has just been one of those weeks with this stuff. So I think we are still on YouTube. We are still on the mobile app. What I'm going to do is I'm going to restart the stream. So please come back. It will take 30 seconds. We'll come back. We'll restart the stream on YouTube, restart the stream on the Puck Sports mobile app, and then hopefully we'll restart the stream there on Twitter. My apologies immensely. Sorry about this. We'll restart it. A reminder, Andy Bunker is coming up top of the hour to give us a preview of the Falcons and Seahawks. We'll back in 30 seconds.